During the recent Nintendo Direct, Nintendo showed off even more of Mario & Luigi Dream Team, and then they followed that up by releasing a brand new trailer for the 3DS eShop. And do you know what that means? It's time to start up the old analysis machine and see what secrets the footage might be hiding. But we do recommend checking out our previous analysis video first if you haven't already, as well as our hands-on preview, as we'll be focusing on only the new details here. And with that out of the way, let's get started. So the Nintendo Direct footage begins with what appears to be the game's opening, where we see Mario and the gang arrive at Pillow Island for vacation. And besides Mario and Luigi, that gang includes several characters we're seeing for the first time in this game, including Toads, Toadsworth, and Princess Peach. But they're not the only returning characters. In the next scene, we can see that the gang actually meets up with Brock Monsieur, the hilariously French block person from Bowser's Inside Story. And we can just barely see him again in the scene right after that, hanging out on the left side of the bed. And as we pointed out in the previous analysis, Starlow's back too, who also first appeared in Bowser's Inside Story. Yep, that's a lot of returning characters, but there seem to be a lot of new ones too. Take the block people who greet the gang when they first arrive. They're actually the only block people we've seen besides Brock Monsieur. And then there are those strange bird characters. Now if you watched our previous analysis, you might recall that we pointed out that those birds actually appear to be costumes, which we based on the blue pants and brown shoes sticking out from underneath. And now we think we have even more proof. Check out the birds' backs in the bottom left corner here. See that weird metallic strip? Yep, that looks like a zipper. No, I'm no ornithologist, but I'm pretty sure birds aren't born with those. So why are these guys wearing costumes anyway? Who's actually underneath? And more importantly, why is that bird's face plastered all over the place, such as on banners and even the temple here? We really have no idea, but it seems it will be pretty important to the plot in some way. Speaking of which, the game's plot really begins when Luigi takes a nap on the bed in what appears to be a museum. And this just so happens to open a portal that leads into a dream world, and Princess Peach gets sucked inside. Man, she just can't catch a break, even on vacation. Now the person behind this kidnapping appears to be a new villain called Antasma, and that name's all we have to go off of as that's all we know about her. Or is it? Because Antasma is such a peculiar name, we did some research to find out if it means anything. Well, as it turns out, it's not actually a word, but it is part of one, the only one, and that word is phantasma. And according to the freedictionary.com, phantasma has 4 possible definitions. 1. An apparition or specter. 2. A creation of the imagination. 3. A mental image or representation of a real object. Or 4. An illusionary likeness of something. And it's really the first 2 definitions that stand out to us. Could she be a ghost that possesses dreams like in definition number 1? Or perhaps she was created as a result of someone's imagination gone awry. Maybe she's actually a nightmare as suggested by definition number 2. It sure does seem likely given the entire game is about dreams. Now in the demo we played, we met a character called Dreambert, who's the leader of an ancient race called the Pillows. Unfortunately, he's the only one left as the rest were turned to stone by Antasma and are now trapped within various dream worlds. And it's of course up to you to set them free by having Luigi fall asleep on various pillows throughout the island, thereby opening portals that Mario can then enter these dream worlds through. And once inside, you can free the pillows by finding and destroying all of the nightmare chunks in each world. And you'll know how many chunks you have left to find in that world thanks to the purple counter in the lower right corner. And of course, this will all likely lead you to Antasma and Princess Peach eventually. Okay, that's enough about the story. Let's talk about the gameplay, which shows off a host of new abilities. And chief among those is something called Luiginary mode, which allows the dream version of Luigi to possess objects in the background which you can then control by touching the real Luigi's face on the touchscreen. Now in our previous analysis, we already took a look at the sneezing one, which can push objects around in the environment. But now we get a good look at a second one that allows you to pull his stash around to grab Mario and fling him like a pebble from a slingshot. But that's mercifully not the only way the brothers will be getting around, as we can see that the spin jump from all 3 of the previous games returns, allowing the brothers to float over long gaps. But it looks like you'll be able to use it in the dream world too, except this time with a whole pile of Luigis. And it seems you'll be able to use their additional power to actually gain altitude here and travel much farther. Speaking of working together, the footage also shows off a variety of special attacks that depend on both teamwork and careful timing. For the overworld battles, we had the 3D red shell, fire flowers, and a propeller attack. But unlike past games, the last one actually requires more than just a button press to use. Instead, you'll have to physically tilt the 3DS to control the helicopter so that the brothers can leap to it before slamming it down onto the enemy. Similarly, the one special attack we see in the Dream World also requires tilting the system as Mario rides a ball of dreamy Luigis in an attempt to collect even more, making the attack even stronger. And in case you're wondering, we can confirm from our playtime that the classic leveling up system returns, experience points and all. You still even get the choice of which individual attribute you increase too. Now the trailer shows off several new enemy types that you'll be taking on, such as crabs, whatever these things are, and a strange creature shaped like a dumbbell. Weird. But this isn't the first time Mario's taken on enemies based on everyday objects, as he had to fight hammer-like creatures in Mario RPG. Now the gameplay footage also shows off these rock enemies that we took a look at in our last analysis, but this time they look a little different, being more of a tan color instead of purple. And we think this might be due to the fact that the tan-colored ones appeared in the overworld while the purple ones were in the dream world. So maybe you'll encounter different variations of enemies depending on whether you're in a dream or not. Speaking of the overworld, one of the scenes shows off a couple of enemies you might remember. First up is the return of the Fly Guy, whose only appearance in the series so far was in Partners in Time. And if we look farther back, we can see the yellow virus enemy, who you might recognize as originally being from Dr. Mario. But he also appeared in the original Mario and Luigi as a standard enemy, and he was joined by his red and blue brethren back then too, so we think there's a good chance they'll be back as well. Okay, now let's back things up a bit to the very start of the game, as the trailer on the eShop actually shows off the game's startup sequence and title screen, and it's hiding a few details. For instance, after the logo appears, did you catch Mario and Luigi riding around on a flying pillow as if it were a magic carpet? We wouldn't be surprised if that's an actual mode of transportation in the game. But beyond that, several dreamlike drawings quickly pass by too. And most of them seem to correlate with things we've already seen elsewhere in the game. Like this palm tree here that looks similar to the ones in one of the dream worlds. Or this wind spinner that matches up with the one in the overworld. Or the building that seems to represent the temple we saw in the opening. But there are still a few left that are unaccounted for. Like this mountain here, which probably means you'll be visiting a mountain at some point. And if we look at that palm tree again, we can see what appears to be a fishbone enemy, who are also seen in Bowser's Inside Story, so it looks like they'll be back too. So that only leaves this very non-specific wall-looking one, and another one that looks to be the insignia of the Pillow People, which is also seen all over the game's world, such as on the temple itself and on the floor of the room that Peach gets kidnapped in. Okay, we're just about done here, but as usual, there's still just a few final details left. For one, although we already knew the hammer was returning for battles, it's good to see that it'll be usable in the overworld too, such as for smashing rocks. Yeah, it's no great surprise, but it's good to know regardless. Now let's take a look at the brief gameplay clip of the town. We can't help but wonder what that speech bubble stands about. Maybe it's a help desk and the person inside gives quest advice. Or could it be related to online or street pass in some way? Next up, did those green guys look familiar to you? They're actually Beanish folk who originally hail from the Bean Bean Kingdom in the original Mario and Luigi. What are they doing here? We're not entirely sure, but it seems to go hand in hand with the townsfolk in our previous analysis who look suspiciously like the Hooligans who were also from that game. Maybe they're all on vacation too. Finally, let's take a real close-up look at the upper left corner. Do you see that red and white character there? He only appears for a few frames, and even then we can just barely see him. What is he? He doesn't seem to show up anywhere else in the trailer. The closest thing we can come up with is that he strongly resembles a red baby Yoshi, right down to the squat appearance, white chest, and what appears to be a little tail poking out from behind him. And it even looks like he has a little saddle too. So cute! Which matches up with their depiction in the original Paper Mario. Or maybe it's just a really similar looking creature, because that's all we've got. And with that, we're done covering everything we could dig up on Mario and Luigi Dream Team. As usual, let us know if we missed anything by posting in the comments. Thanks for watching, and make sure to keep an eye on GameXplain.com for more on Mario and Luigi Dream Team and other things gaming too.